Wow, this is my new favorite lip combo. Hi. So today I wanted to talk to you about how I quit sugar. Added sugar. Added sugar is the really important distinction there. Added sugar. Sugar that's added to things. Oh, I love fruit. I love fruit so much. I would never get rid of fruit, okay? When keto was all the rage, I did keto for like 5 days and it was hell. 5 days of hell. I was like, why am I not eating fruit? I love fruit. Why would I do this to myself? This is so stupid. Let me start by saying, I personally, well, I think everybody should think this, but diet, what you eat, I mean, everything, honestly, like everything about like health in general, whether it's diet or fitness or anything, is so incredibly personal. I think it's an incredibly personal, it should be very tailored to you. So I would never come on here as a beauty YouTuber who has absolutely no experience. Well, I mean, I have experience, but like no formal training in, I'm obviously not a nutritionist, okay? I'm not a doctor. I would never tell you what you should do. However, I've had a lot of experience with trying to cut out added sugar. I have personally seen a lot of benefits. I'm going to share all of those things with you today, and I'm going to show you, well, I'm going to tell you, I guess, how you can try to kick it if it's something that you're interested in. Definitely, sugar is not the enemy, in my opinion. I'm not even going to say that added sugar is like poison or the enemy, because there are plenty of people out there who can like go to a coffee shop once a week and have a chocolate croissant and then it doesn't ruin their lives. Unfortunately, I am not one of those people. And we'll talk about that. So I don't think everybody needs to cut it out, but if it's something that you've been thinking about, I definitely think that it's worth like maybe giving a shot for like a month or so and just see if it makes a difference for you in how you feel, your skin quality, all of those kinds of things. And I'm going to go over all of the like changes that I saw, but I recommend like giving it a shot. You know, like there's no harm in just like kicking it for a little while. You don't have to stick to it. Really quickly, this was a very, very long process. I feel like that is probably the first thing that should be said. I'll give you a little bit of an idea of like what my background was. But first, I just wanted to say that once I was able to cut added sugar, and if you're confused about that term, it's as simple as an apple containing sugar. An apple naturally contains sugar. We'll take a Honeycrisp, for example, a little more sugar than like Granny Smith, versus a Snickers bar, okay? A Snickers bar is not a naturally occurring, I just realized I have eyeshadow like stained my finger. Not a naturally occurring thing in nature. We make it. You have to add sugar. We put in sugar to make it sweet and to taste good. Delicious, not so good for us. That's like an obvious one, right? Apple versus candy bar. When I started removing things like candy bars, ice cream, for me, it was basically processed foods in general. I would say that my like diet most closely resembles paleo. If I had to put a name on it, I don't really put a name on it, but if I had to, it would be paleo, I guess. So I was kind of looking at everything in that regard, like processed foods. Obviously, a lot of processed foods, especially here in America, have a ton of added sugar in them. So once I decided to remove things that contained added sugar and focus on things that were more naturally occurring, like an apple versus a candy bar, I saw pretty crazy benefits. I would say, I'm trying to remember because this has been years now, but I'm trying to remember like how long it took. I feel like the first week that I was completely added sugar free, the biggest change that I saw was in my mood and my productivity. I woke up feeling motivated and energized. Like I would wake up in the morning and it was easy to get out of bed. I was ready to get out of bed. I was ready to like go and do things, to like get my day started. It wasn't until I cut out added sugar that I even recognized that like that was a thing that needed adjusting. I don't know, I guess that was my baseline. I was like, you know, lay in bed for 30 minutes, like really hard time getting out of bed, not really feeling motivated, not wanting to work out, and kind of just feeling like down the majority of the time. So that was the first one, was energy and mood. The second one, these are probably like the two big ones. The second one was seeing a difference in my dark circles, my dark under eye circles, which you guys, if you have been watching my channel for a while, you're very aware of. You may have actually noticed a change. I did start to receive a lot of comments from people who were like, your dark circles are going away. What is happening? Like, what are you doing? It took me a long time to kind of like make the correlation because it was definitely a slow process. I did not notice that right away. Mostly noticed my like increase in mood. I felt a lot better. I felt more energized. I was sleeping better. It took a while, I would say. Maybe it took 6 months for me to notice that my under eyes were getting brighter. And then I was like, holy crap, you guys, my dark circles are starting to go away. And it's not that they were going away. I still have them, but they were getting a lot better. Like my skin overall just looked brighter. Okay, so this is how my under eyes look right now after being on added sugar for, it's been a slow process. Today's actually October 31st, Halloween, happy Halloween. This all probably started like early October, so it was kind of a slow process. It's been slowly building for about a month or so. And by building, I mean like I've been slowly slipping. And for context, it's been about 2 weeks since the height of it. And I've been like kind of trying to taper off, but I've still been indulging. So I'll put a side by side so that you can compare to a time when I'm not eating, when I was like not eating any added sugar, when I was basically just eating a lot of like fruits and just not processed foods in general. I feel like it's very obvious to me. Hopefully the side by side will give you a better idea of it, but my under eyes are significantly like, I don't know if they are actually deeper or if they just look deeper because this whole area around my eyes is very, very dark. Also, my face just looks like a little bit more puffy, which makes sense. I've been eating sugars and inflammatory. It causes inflammation. And also like it makes me lazier, so I haven't really been working out. I've been like eating more and obviously eating things that are like more highly concentrated in things like calories and sugar, you know what I mean? So like you can just see like a little bit more like puffy and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I just wanted to give you like what it looks like physically, but that is not, that's not my main concern. My main concern is what it does to me. So one of the reasons that I wanted to make this video today was because I have fallen off the wagon. Real bad. I've started eating sugar again. Now, a little bit about my background, just to give you kind of an idea, and maybe you will find some similarities with like yourself. I grew up addicted to sugar. Thinking back to like how I would eat, I don't know how I survived. I don't know how I don't have diabetes right now, okay? Like, I would basically not, I was a very picky eater when I was a kid, and my parents were kind of just like, all right, like, listen, we made dinner. Like, if you want it, eat it. If not, like, I don't know, do what you're gonna do, basically. And I did what I was gonna do. And I ate a lot of cookies. I would go to school and get candy bars. You know, I would say public school probably contributed a lot to that. Vending machines, school lunches were, I mean, horrific as far as like nutrition goes. Just lots and lots of sugar is basically all I ate. And now thinking back to it, I was essentially like it was addict behavior. I like craved it, I needed it. And unfortunately, that's like how I am now. So I started eating, being a little bit more lax, indulging in some sugar here and there, like with like a chocolate croissant or like a frozen yogurt. And then it just ended up like becoming, the more I did it, the more it started to like build up into a habit. And then obviously like the next day around the same time, my body is like, where's that sugar? Like I want that sugar. My boyfriend and I went to Aspen. It was my birthday. We got a dessert that was, fuck mate, delicious. But actually ended up getting food poisoning and puking it all up. So that was really, really fucking fun. Lots of sugar in that. It was like this like brownie thing with like ice cream and like amazing. And after that experience, when I came home, I was like, holy crap, I look like death. Like my skin was pale, my under eyes were super dark. And pretty much since then, it's been about 2 weeks, I'm still trying to get out of that like addict behavior where my brain is like, I need that sugar, I need chocolate. I know this is already like kind of a long intro, but I have some tips for how to transition into cutting that stuff out of your diet. The first thing that you want to keep in mind is this is going to take a long time. This isn't going to be a week. It might not even be a month, depending on like where you are, like how much of it you eat and how addicted you are to it and how much willpower you have. It's tough. It's very difficult to shut off those addict triggers, in my opinion, when it comes to sugar. And it's also really difficult, especially in this country, because sugar is in everything. everything. It's insane. It's also such a cultural, like communal type thing. For instance, like going and getting a coffee and getting a croissant or like a muffin or something. Like it's just kind of everywhere. So it makes it very difficult to avoid. The first thing that you want to keep in mind, I think I've said the first thing like 7 times. The first step after recognizing that it's going to take a while, you're gonna mess up, is added sugar bad, natural sugar good. Focus on natural sugar. That's the first step. You have to take this in baby steps, okay? So the first step is trying to cut things like Snickers, like ice cream, all of those kinds of things, processed foods that contain sugar, cutting those things out of your diet. Rather than going with the candy bar or the ice cream, you have to find a dessert that is sweet, that you enjoy, that is natural, has naturally occurring sugar. For instance, an apple. One of my favorite desserts is a Honeycrisp apple with ricotta cheese and cinnamon. Delicious, okay? Delicious. I look forward to it like crazy. Another one, berries. I love berries. Strawberries, yogurt. I usually get plain Greek yogurt. I'll sweeten it with a teeny bit of stevia. Stevia is one of those things where like it tastes really bad in large quantities, but I don't need it. I'm basically just using it to make my yogurt not taste like sour cream. I'll do like 3 to 4 drops in like a yogurt, and then I'll top it with pecans. Once again, cinnamon. Delicious, okay? Eat all the fruit. Eat mangoes, eat pineapple, okay? They're high in sugar. Eat those. You gotta trick your brain into craving the naturally occurring sugar rather than like going for the candy bar. Because at least the naturally occurring sugar foods has fiber in it. It has like vitamins, it has water in it. Like there's good stuff in there for you rather than like the Snickers, which has nothing but like sugar. It's also a ton of sugar and calories condensed into this tiny little thing. You know what I mean? So that is in step number 1, is focus on the natural things. And then don't even worry about the quantity. If you eat 3 mangoes, eat 3 mangoes, okay? That's how I had to do it. This is a very important distinction, and I don't know why I didn't say this, but the main reason that you want to replace the added sugar foods with naturally occurring sugar foods is, that sounds so stupid, is when I eat those, this is me personally, when I eat those, I do not experience, like I could eat 3 mangoes and then the next day I do not experience the lethargy and the puffiness and the dark circles. So that is the main distinction. Like when I eat the pint of ice cream, I feel like ass the next day, like it literally feels like a sugar hangover. But when I eat 3 mangoes, 3 apples, whatever, like if I overdose on fruit, I don't feel that. And that is the biggest thing, kind of like getting rid, it's literally a detox. That's a very important distinction. I went through a period where I was eating like 3 mangoes a day because I was trying to detox from the other stuff, you know? So it's gonna take those steps. So if you're having a hard time with that, if you're trying to figure out like what should I eat, just remember to focus on something that's like naturally occurring. Obviously an apple grows on trees, naturally occurring, bananas, you know what I mean? Versus like a frozen yogurt, which is created. We make it. It's not naturally occurring. That's like the easiest way, I think, to go about starting this. You have to remember you're going to slip up. There are going to be times where you mess up, where you're like, you know what? I ate that candy bar. Don't use that as an excuse to just throw away the whole day. If you have like a really shitty day and you know, emotionally eat and you cave and you're like trying to cut out, maybe your thing is ice cream and you eat an entire pint of ice cream one night. Don't throw away the rest of the night. Don't like continue eating sugar. Just like, okay, I did that. It's fine. I'm gonna start fresh tomorrow morning. Just stop. And then the next morning, the next day, when you have that sugar craving, have an apple, have bananas. You can do like a lot of different things to kind of like make them taste a little bit better, especially in the beginning. One thing that I did was I was like super addicted to chocolate. I loved chocolate. So I just switched to like 80% cocoa chocolate. So it was like a little bit darker, a little bit less of like the sugar and the milk. I don't really eat chocolate anymore because it breaks me out. Sometimes I add cocoa powder to smoothies. So one thing that I love making is something that I call a cherry cordial smoothie, which is dark sweet cherries frozen with a little bit of milk, cocoa powder, a little bit of yogurt, couple drops of stevia, blend that up, and it tastes like a cherry cordial to me. I mean, obviously not as good, but like, it's delicious. I love it. And I make that when I'm like super craving sugar, because it's like pretty sweet, those cherries. So do that instead, you know, like make something like that instead of ordering the frozen yogurt or the ice cream. Next, you just gotta stick with it. It's gonna be a long process. Like I said, you're probably gonna take steps back. You're probably gonna slip up. You're probably gonna have the ice cream, probably gonna get the Snickers, but you just have to keep going. Keep trying to focus on the fruit. Just like overdose on fruit, dude. Have your fruit. You know what I mean? And as you go, you will notice that the more that you focus on eating the fruit, the naturally occurring sugar, you start to feel a lot better. Your body also kind of starts to like readjust, and naturally, I think, your portions will start to get a little bit smaller. So you'll start to notice like, okay, I don't need 3 mangoes. Like I'm just gonna have 2 mangoes. If you don't do that naturally, then like consciously be like, okay, you know what? It's been like a while. I'm gonna slow it down a little bit. Like rather than eating like 3 apples in one go, I'm gonna have 1 apple. You can definitely put like a timeline on it if you want, like this week or this month, this is what I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna up it to this. If you're like an organized person in that way, I personally found that to be too restrictive. It kind of like, I don't know, it freaked me out. Like I don't like having those kinds of restrictions. So I just kind of allowed it to happen naturally. If I mess up and I eat something that has added sugar in it, I just try not to mess up again. You just have to keep trying until you like essentially detox from that like added sugar, and also your body and your mind kind of like recognizes this is how I feel when I eat this thing. Because once you start cutting it out and then you have it, I mean, I will literally, it'll like, I don't eat ice cream. I mostly stick with frozen yogurt because it's usually like lower in calories. I mean, sugar. I don't care about calories. I eat so much. My boyfriend and I one night went out to dinner and he was like, let's get Van Leeuwen. I don't know if you guys know Van Leeuwen. And I was like, oh, I'll just get something small. It's the first time that I had had that amount of concentrated sugar in such a long time. The next morning I woke up and my entire face was so puffy, like so puffy. I was so inflamed. Also my joints hurt when I do, I don't know. I have a really bad reaction to it, okay? Like I can't fuck with sugar. So just take it one step at a time. Don't force yourself. And I personally would suggest if you need to sweeten something like yogurt or whatever, I would suggest stevia. The erythritols and those kinds of things, it ends in OL, alls, those, they make me feel like shit, like bloated and like shit. Stevia, couple drops in a yogurt, fantastic. If you need to like sweeten, sometimes I use it in like a matcha latte, or another really great option is like if I'm craving hot cocoa, because sometimes I am, I'll like steam some milk, put a little like 100% cocoa in there, and then like 2 drops of stevia, hot chocolate, delish, you know? All right, so the biggest takeaway for this is to just like focus on the naturally occurring sugars, eat as much as you want. Slowly whittle that down. Don't feel guilty about eating like 5 apples. You gotta eat 5 apples, eat 5 apples. You know what I mean? If it means eating 5 apples over eating a pint of ice cream, I think that that's way better. It's gonna help you to kind of like train your brain to crave the natural food and kick the habit of the added sugar. Again, it's a super personal thing. If you can like eat sugar and it doesn't ruin your life, more power to you. I wish I was you. I'm just not. I've noticed that I feel so much better when I'm not eating it. I have energy, I feel more motivated, my skin looks better, my under eyes are brighter, and I feel less depressed. That's another thing. So I would be super interested to hear like if any of you have done this, have tried to do it, have tried to cut it out. If any of you have your own suggestions or tips on how to cut out added sugar, or if you're gonna give this a shot, I'm starting over right now. So I'm right there with you, trust me. I've had some bad weeks recently, but the emotional eating is a big problem for me. And now I'm trying to get back to kicking that stuff out because it just makes me feel worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. you know? And I don't want to feel worse. I want to wake up having like, I want to be able to wake up and get out of bed and get like motivated and feel positive and like ready for my day. And sugar doesn't do that for me. I also mentioned this like a while back. If any of you would like healthy recipes, like sweet healthy recipes, I think I filmed a couple of them. I can definitely put that up if you are someone who needs like suggestions, especially if you're trying to cut out added sugar. Disclaimer, I eat dairy. So, you know, just keep that in mind. I hope this helped you guys. Let me know if this is something that you're trying to do. If you have any questions, if you have any tips for other people. But yeah, I would just say good luck. Don't beat yourself up if you slip up. And yeah, let's just eat more apples, I think. An apple a day, right? Or whatever they say. Dude, I want a friggin' apple with ricotta right now. Peace.